Time for another Your Art Dude Talks Art podcast. I've added some audio elements that I've been downloading. Hopefully that'll make these podcasts a little bit more interesting. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to do this podcast about Caravaggio. Once again, this is part 2, but this is about something new. And I'll talk more about that right after this. Welcome back. All right, so once again, this episode is going to be about Caravaggio again, but this is something new. Something new that has recently turned up in the news. You may have seen about it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. It's pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, this is about a piece that Caravaggio painted on a ceiling. And Caravaggio did not do frescoes like a lot of other artists at the time. Now keep in mind, Caravaggio lived 400 years ago. And so frescoes were kind of a big deal back then, especially in Italy. But he didn't really paint them. But he did this one, and it's in a villa that's owned by Princess Rita Ludovisi. And you may have seen something about this on NBC or on CNN or the article that was in Fortune magazine where it talked about the rareness of this piece because Caravaggio only did one. And they're valuing this piece at like anywhere from $330 million to $470 million. So it's a really expensive. But she's been in the middle of this big lawsuit between her former husband who passed away, his sons from another marriage. Italian law says that all inheritors need to inherit things equally, but his will stipulated that she could stay in the house as long as she was alive, and so they sued because they didn't feel like she was taking care of the property. And anyway, it became this long. There's lots of good articles and news clips about it. But anyway, this piece by Caravaggio was painted on the ceiling, not in a traditional fresco style. He did it more like, kind of like an oil painting on dried plaster. And normally frescoes are done painting into wet plaster, so the pigment becomes a part of the plaster. But this was painted on top of the plaster. So anyway, this piece has never been seen before. And it's rare, and it's only been photographed just a few times. And these articles actually have some photographs, and it's pretty interesting. It's a really good piece. It's typical Caravaggio in terms of perspectives and shadows and things like that he liked to do with his artwork. So it's really a wonderful piece. And if you get a chance to read about it, please do. I do want to make a note that at least in one of those articles, they talk about how the villa where it was painted was owned by the cardinal, who was Caravaggio's main patron, and there's speculation about their relationship. I just want to go on the record once again saying that this was 400 years ago, and there is no evidence at all that Caravaggio ever got married, or that he ever had any children, or that he had any kind of personal relationships with anybody. So it's not relevant. I don't know why people want to continue to talk about this kind of stuff. It's so very high school in my opinion, but it has no bearing whatsoever on Caravaggio as a person. It has no bearing on Caravaggio in his art, and I don't know why it keeps coming up. But anyway, just please don't pay any attention to that kind of stuff. Let's just talk about the art. It's really beautiful. It's got some classical gods. Jupiter and his brothers are in the painting, and it's painted in a way that makes it look like when you look up, you're looking through a window in the ceiling, and it just keeps going on forever. The perspective is amazing in this piece, and it's a beautiful piece. And I really hope that once all this lawsuit gets sorted out and somebody buys the villa, that they do some restoration on the villa and turn it into something where everybody can enjoy the piece and go in and look at it. So that's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully you think that's a good idea. let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing this piece. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Talk to you later.